All right, Kyle here with Lake Vermilion Houseboats on a beautiful day here in Lake Vermilion. We're going to do the orientation video of our newly renamed and rebuilt, was the former executive houseboat. Now it will be known as the Nautilus Houseboat. We built this boat during the season of 2025, and she will be the queen of our fleet here going forward. So orientation always starts on the back deck. So first thing I want to go over is the generator. So new with this boat, compared to the rest of our boats, is we added a lithium power pack to supply power to the outlets in the interior of the houseboat. So before, whenever you needed electricity at any of the outlets on your houseboat, you had to run the generator. So what the lithium pack does for us is it allows us, the guests, to enjoy a more quiet, tranquil, and nature setting houseboat experience, because they don't need to run the generator for all of their electricity needs. So how the power pack works is basically all of the outlets inside the houseboat, except for just a few, which I will go over when we get in the houseboat, are powered by the lithium pack. So all the outlets in the kitchens, the bedrooms, and the living room are all powered by the lithium pack. So to basically charge a cell phone at night in your bedroom, to run the microwave in the kitchen, to run the toaster in the kitchen, and to run the TV in the galley, you do not need to run the generator. So all those outlets are powered by the lithium pack, so you can have pretty much 24/7 power without running the generator, which is we feel is a big upgrade for this boat. So for the generator, we still need to use the generator a little bit. So the main thing for the generator is we need to keep that lithium pack charged up, and we also need to charge our 12-volt batteries that power part of the houseboat accessories. So the 12-volt power of our houseboat is the overhead lights, it's the water pump, and it's the circuit boards on the refrigerators. So basically, again, you don't need to run the generator to have working lights, running water, and working refrigerators. All right. So we want to run the generator a minimum of, we call it 2 to 3 hours a day continuously. What that does, at that continuous runtime, it recharges your 12-volt batteries, and then it also recharges the lithium pack. That'll keep everything running. The only thing you need to run the generator for is you need to run the generator if you're wanting to run the ACs and or the hot tub. So anytime you want to run the hot tub or any of the air conditioners, this has to run, because our lithium pack doesn't have enough wattage to power those devices. So, but everything else on the houseboat, you don't need the generator run. But we want to run this a minimum of 2 to 3 hours a day in one continuous stretch, to make sure everything stays charged up. You can run it longer than that, but with the power pack, there's really no need. So, to start the generator, very simple. There's a key right here. You just turn it to on, and then the button right here, you just press the button and release it. And then when you want to turn the generator off, you simply turn the key off. And one thing I want to else go over here on the back deck is our propane tank. Also by the propane tanks, we have our jugs of gas, and the jugs of gas are for the generator, to refill gas on the generator. And also if you have one of our small fishing boats, our little, we call our kind of our tag / dinghy boats, you can use this gas for that. So basically with our propane system, there's 2 tanks. They're always topped off before you leave. One tank is always off, one is on, and this little dial right here. So whatever, this dial here is pointed this way, so this tank is on. If you wanted to switch tanks, you have to open the tank valve and then turn the dial over to that tank. And then we always close the tank that's not being used. So, the only time you ever really have to worry about propane and checking your propane is when you're here during our colder season, say in the spring or fall, where you're basically running your heaters a lot. That's the main drain for the propane. So that's it for the back deck. We're gonna walk into the cabin. Okay, we're stepping from the back deck inside the cabin of the houseboat here. So I'm gonna go over a couple things here real quick. So this is the back bedroom. So one thing I want to show here is this switch right here is for our water heater. So if you happen to, during your trip, basically not have any hot water, what we'd want you guys to do is you basically would turn off the switch wait a couple seconds, and then turn it back on. And that would restart the pilot light on the water heater. So, and again, want to make sure that this stays on because that's what controls your water heater. So, also in the back bedroom here, I'll just go over this real quick. So, our back bedroom and our middle bedroom are exactly the same. So basically, there's two doors to get into the room, one on each side because our bed butts up to our wall. But each side of the bed has its own outlet. And again, those outlets are powered by the lithium pack where you do not need to run the generator. So again, mostly charging cell phones and or CPAP machines. That's what you would plug into overnight to power those devices. So we'll continue to walk forward here. So our smoke alarm and our carbon monoxide alarms are in the hallway here. So we always test our alarms. I won't do it right now, but we like to test our alarms to make sure everything's working. So again, smoke alarm, carbon monoxide alarm. This is the heater back here. The heater here, the heater in the main galley, and the heater upstairs in the top penthouse are all the same as far as operation. And I will go over that later in the galley for those. Gonna walk into the bathroom here, the back bathroom. So this houseboat does have two full-size bathrooms with a full-size shower, a full vanity, and a toilet. Exact same layout for both bathrooms. Underneath the sink of both vanities in the bathroom is you're gonna have extra toilet paper. The first aid kit, I believe, is just in the back bathroom here. There's usually some extra garbage bags for the bathroom. And then these blue tabs are deodorizer tabs. So if you feel that your septic is smelling more than it should, you can drop one a day, would drop a tab in, you just drop it in the septic tank and down the toilet basically. So, and then I'll go over our toilets a little bit here. All of our toilets are a little bit different. These toilets here, operation-wise, is to open the valve, is always just open it. Sometimes our valves do stick. So this one, as you see, it doesn't automatically come back up. So when you push it down, you want to make sure when you're done is that you lift it up. And what we tell people is if you lift up on it, you just lift up on it, it's going to fill the basin up. So what a good idea is, after you're done using the toilet, is lift up on the lever, fill the basin up with some water, and that basically does two things. It ensures that you didn't leave the valve down to where you're running water into the septic tank and you can fill up the septic tank. And it also adds water to the basin, which acts as a vapor guard for the odors that are in the septic tank. So we tell everybody, again, when you're done, after you flush your toilet, lift up on the lever, fill up the basin with some water, and you're good to go. We'll continue to walk forward here. Joy will probably show you the middle bedroom. Same thing as the back bedroom. And this is the middle bathroom, which is the exact same layout as the back bathroom. All right, we're in the kitchen now. Basically, the only thing I really need to go over here is, so all the outlets in the kitchen. So outlet here, again, powered by the lithium pack. The one thing I will say is both outlets in the kitchen, and each bathroom has one outlet. They're all GFI outlets. And they run off the same circuit. So if you trip a GFI, let's say if I tripped a GFI on this outlet, it's going to kind of take out that whole string of outlets. So if your outlets are not working, just go and check. It kind of lights up when the GFI is tripped. You have to check each individual one. One of the outlets GFI will be tripped. Just reset it, and they'll all be working again. So. Thing with our houseboats too is we do labor all of our faucets. So our kitchen faucet, our bathroom faucets at the vanities, and the showers, we're pumping water out of the lake for those faucets. So don't drink out of those faucets, all right? So they're all labeled. So again, kitchen faucet, bathroom faucets, and showers is lake water. Do not drink it, okay? We do supply fresh water, so typically in this boat here, we put our boxes of water down here. Each box has 3 1-gallon jugs of fresh water. Typically, we give you about 8 boxes, which is about 24 gallons of water. So if you feel that you need more than that, just let us know before you leave the dock, and we'll get you as much as you think we need. But that typically, for this size of boat, is more than enough water to get you through your trip. So here I can go over. This is our AC unit downstairs, and just give me a second real quick. I'm gonna go fire up the generator because this is powered by the generator. It doesn't get powered by the lithium pack, so I'm gonna go fire up the generator and I'll come back. We'll go over that. Okay. Just again, make sure the generator is running. Here's your power switch right here. Just power on the unit. It's got a couple different fan speeds. So fan speed, that's low, that's high, that's medium. This is your temperature. So right now we have it set at 60. That might be the air temp. Yeah. So that's the first temp you see when it's not flashing. That's going to be the temp of the cabin. And then when it's blinking like this is where you can adjust your settings. So typically like 70-ish, 68. The mode, it automatically starts off, so we want to, we want to make sure it's in the cool mode because it does have a heat mode and a kind of dehumidifier mode, so make sure it's in the cool. Don't need to worry about the timer, I guess. You can do the auto swing with the fan, with the blades there. I like to keep it, when it gets back up, I would probably just keep it set at, trying to, again, hot air rises, you're trying to get the cool air up top. So, but I'll just turn that back off when it gets up. Very simple. So, but I'm going to go ahead. So, like I said, the temp when it's solid, that's the temp of the cabin. If you want to change your temp, you turn it. Yeah, go ahead and power it off when you're not using it. And I'm going to go turn the generator back off so we can continue with the orientation. All right, so we're in the main cabin here in the galley. So again, all the heaters on the houseboat. So there's a heater in the main galley. There's a heater outside the bedrooms in the hallway, and there is the same, but it's a little bit smaller, same heater, same function upstairs in the penthouse. All function the same way. So when you want to start your heaters, this black dial over here, so there's off, and as you turn the dial, there's low, medium, and high, but make sure it always should be off. So you just hold that and hold it in and keep it held in. This red button here is the striker, so go ahead and hit that. May not be able to see it on the camera there on the video, but there is a flame right where my finger is, right there where the thermocoupler is. There's a little flame right there. So we want to hold this in for about 30 seconds. So what we're waiting for is it just takes a little bit for this mat to kind of everything get primed up and stuff. Sometimes the mat will kind of softly flare up for you. Typically, with these newer units, it doesn't do that, but we'll hold it in here for a little bit. The main thing with these heaters, it does not have a standing pilot light. All right, so when I release this button, the pilot light goes out, and that tricks a lot of our guests because they're used to the Mr. Buddy heaters where there's always a standing pilot light. This is a catalytic heater. It runs differently. So when I release this, the pilot light's going to go out, so I release it. Now I'm going to turn the dial. And I always want to start it in a high position. And then what you want to do is you want to feel down here, all right? If you feel heat, it's on. If you don't feel much heat, you want to relight it. But it did light. It's very warm, right? If I put my hand, I couldn't keep it there very long. So that's how you start the heater. Again, does not have a standing pilot light. So right now it's in the high setting. You can turn, there's a medium setting and a low setting. And then when you're done, just make sure that it's in the off position. So, all right. TVs. If you want to use the TV in the houseboat, again, you do not need to run the generator. It's hooked up to the lithium pack. And you need to use your phone, or if you have another kind of hotspot device, but typically guests just use their phone as their wireless hotspot. You turn on the TV, go through the settings, get it hooked up to your phone, to your hotspot, and then you're able to stream, use your streaming services to watch a ball game or a movie or whatever. So good. The remote looks like this, and typically we try to keep it over here kind of in that area right there. So, but all right, and then as we continue on here, just want to show you these. So again, outlet here, and outlet here. Okay, run off the lithium pack. So the only outlet downstairs here in the main cabin that does not is not powered by the lithium pack is this outlet right here. Right? So this is the only outlet basically that you would need to run the generator to have power there. So we were planning on putting the AC over here. That's kind of why that was there. But after we built it, it fit very well over here. So that's kind of why that's an anomaly. Okay. I'm going to go over our fridges here. So another nice feature of this houseboat is 2 fridges. This boat is typically with our bigger groups, and having 2 fridges is a very nice option on this houseboat. So both fridges operate the exact same way. So the only thing I really need to show you is these buttons right here. So if you open the freezer, so there's your on-off button. This is a button here that we really don't want you to mess with because that basically changes the setting of the fridge. And we always have it set where it needs to be before you leave the dock. And when people start pressing buttons, what they end up doing is usually making things worse. So again, if you need to turn it on and off, there's your on-off button. Don't worry about that button right there. This is your temp set. So I don't know if you're able to see that display there or not. So if I hit that, that's going to be your temp setting. Okay, so 5 is the coldest setting. It goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, 5 is the coldest setting. So all of our trips, we always have it on 5. If things are cooling down more than you want, then you can adjust that. So another thing I want to show you on this fridges is there is times that, like any device, they could have kind of minds of their own, and they kind of boot themselves out of working properly. If this number here is flashing, and it's not like a solid number. So right now it's 60. We don't have really had the fridges on here. So fridges are usually, high 30s, low 40 degrees, which that will be the normal temp. If that thing is blinking at you, and if it flashes like say E1, what you do is come over here, you hit the on off button, wait a couple seconds, turn it back on, and it basically that reboots itself. So if you happen to walk by and you don't see a solid number, and you see something flashing at you, basically, all you got to do, turn it off, turn it back on. So. And then we'll go up to the helm. Okay, so I'll just go over the switches here. All right, so everything's labeled. Okay, so basically all these white switches should be on. Okay, the only switch you ever need to worry about is the water pump switch. So what we do is when you're cruising on the lake, like driving on the lake, we want to keep that switch off. Okay. Our water intake hose for the water pump is just a hose that sticks in the water. And when you're driving with the boat at our cruising speed, which is usually about 5 miles an hour, that pickup line can come out of the water. And if people are trying to, say, go to the restroom, wash their hands, wash dishes, take a shower, basically if there's no water coming in the water pump, you'll basically burn up the water pump. So we tell all of our guests, so when you're cruising around the lake, make sure your water pump switch is off. If you're on the lake and you're cruising, having fun, and somebody says, hey, I need to use the restroom, just come down to idle speed. Go ahead and turn on your water pump. Let them do what they need to do. And when they're done, turn it right back off again. But the rest of the switches, cabin lights should always stay on. The loft lights, which are your lights to the penthouse, should always stay on. Fridges should always stay on. GPS should always stay on. These black switches are a little bit different. I'll go over that. But basically, again, everything should be on except for the water pump when you're cruising. So when you want to start the engines of the houseboat, that's where these black switches come into play. So whenever the motors are off, the outboards are off, you want to keep these black switches that are labeled shifter. You want to keep those off. When you go to start the vessel or start the outboards, the first thing you want to do is turn these on. So when I turn them both on at the same time, so when I turn them on, the shifter is going to start beeping at me, okay? So I'm going to turn this black switches on. It's going to go beep, beep, beep. So here we go. Okay. So it wants control either here or up top. So this button right here, you press it, okay? Beeping goes away and you get 2 red lights, okay? So with this houseboat, another nice feature of this houseboat, it has the dual helm steering. So not only can you drive the houseboat from down here in the main level, you can drive the houseboat up in the penthouse. So with this electric shifter, it needs to know which shifter is active, and whatever shifter has the red lights is the active shifter. Another thing I should have mentioned is whenever you take over a shifter, make sure it's in neutral. So that's forward, that's neutral, and that's reverse. All right, so make sure both shifters are in neutral. So doesn't really kind of matter down here, but sometimes upstairs where the kids are at, they like to play with the shifters. Just always make sure whenever you take over a shifter that they're in neutral. There's a little groove right here, and you want that lining up with the light. So after you get the lights, now you can start your outboards. So I always just turn the key to the first click. Okay, that's basically just, and then after that we're going to start it. So the main thing with our outboards is it's hard to hear the motors from in here that are all the way in the back of the houseboat. So sometimes we get guests that when they turn the motors on is that they hold it in for like 5 seconds. And that's a bad thing because you can really ruin our starters, all right? So what I tell all of our guests is when you go to start it, just hold it in for about a second, okay? And if it doesn't start, you just watch your needle. If the needle doesn't rise, then you can start it again, okay? So again, just hold it for a second, release it. If the needle doesn't rise, then you know it didn't start. So that one started. If you watch this needle, as I turn it, see how the needle drops? I'm just going to turn it for a second. Okay. The needle went up, so now you know it's working. So again, just don't hold the key in for 5 seconds. Okay. At this point, engines are running. You got control down here. This is where we drive the houseboat. All right. So again, a 60-some foot houseboat. There's a little bit of delay. So what we do here, there's going to be about a second delay to the motors. So with the shifters, we can't be, you can't be moving them too fast. So when you shift them into gear, so you have to shift and wait, right? Now watch your needle. If I want to advance throttle now, so it's in forward, just this motor. Watch that needle, all right? Just move the handle forward, and there when the needle rises, that's when you're giving it throttle, okay? When you go to reverse, again, let it shift for a second, then watch your needle, advance your throttle. Now there you go. All right. So now would be the port side motor, be your left motor. So here, so I'm going to let it shift. Wait a second. Advance throttle, nice and easy. Needle rises. There you go. And I'm back to reverse. Shift. Wait a second. Move your throttle back. There you go. So the main thing is it has happened in the past. So we have, say, the guests are coming into their mooring site. So they have both shifters in forward. They're giving it some throttle. They're coming in. They're like, oh boy, we're coming in a little bit too quick. And what they do is they just I'm going to just turn the motors off to kind of demonstrate this. So they're in forward. Okay, they're coming in their mooring site and they're like, uh-oh, coming in, and they just do this real quick. And when you do that, it's not going to work very good, okay? So it's going to kill the motors. This thing is going to start beeping again because everything's off, so you got to go back to neutral, turn everything on, gain control, and by that time you've already hit whatever you were about trying to avoid. So again, you have to be easy with the throttle. But when you're done, when you turn off your motors, all right, you turn your motors off, and then make sure you turn those black switches back off again. But that's it for we do have the GPS here. 5 mile/hour is our cruising speed, which is about 3,000 RPMs for each motor. So where the 3 is, that's each number is like times 1,000. So 3 means 3,000. We do have our own orientation video for the GPS. And then again, 3,000 RPMs, be a good cruising speed. So. And that's for the main cabin. That kind of wraps up the front deck of the houseboat here. So a couple things. Our grills, all right, we have charcoal grills. We do not supply the charcoal, so guests should bring their own, or we do sell it here. So we do sell charcoal and lighter fluid if you happen not to bring it, but that we do not supply it for free. That is either bring your own or we'll have to buy some from us. The 2x12 out here is what we call our plank. So this is what bridges the front of the boat to shore. So typically there's a little bit of a gap between the front of the boat and shore at our mooring sites, and this is kind of what bridges that gap so you don't have to get in the water. So, but at our sandy sites, with our bigger houseboats, the houseboat does not get all the way to shore on our sandy sites because of how gradual they are. So this would have to go down in the water. The water would be less than knee deep, but the guests would have to put this down, get down in the, say water not quite up to your knee to get your mooring ropes off and stuff and get tied up. each side of the boat will have a set of mooring ropes. So that's what's right here. And then this box right here is where your life jackets are for the houseboat. So, but that pretty much, we do have a mooring video that'll be part of the playlist with this link. So that'll go over the mooring side, but I just thought I'd show the plank, again, charcoal grill, and then your box where all your life jackets are and stuff. So, but there is fire extinguishers on the front deck, on the back deck, and then in the kitchen as well. So now we're gonna go up to the penthouse. All right, we're up here on the top deck. Just gonna go over the hot tub real quick. When you arrive, the hot tub will be filled, of course, and it'll already be hot. So we're able to put hot water into the hot tub, so everything will be ready to go when you arrive. What we tell our guests to do with our hot tubs is anytime they're running the generator, because this is only powered when the generator's running, is have somebody come up to the top deck. There's a jets button, so hold the jets button down until the jets start. Then there's an up and down arrow. So it presets at 100 degrees, so whenever the hot tub turns on, it's set at 100 degrees. You can dial up the temperature to 104 degrees. So what we tell, again, with all of our hot tubs is anytime the generator is running, come up, hit the jets, hold the jets button down to start the jets, dial it up to 104, and that'll keep your hot tub nice and warm throughout your stay. Is our straps. All right, so there's a child-proof setting on the straps. So there's numbers here, and they need to be 00 for this to open and to latch back. If you move it, now you can't open it. So if you have kids that you don't want in the hot tub, just keep those at whatever number, all right? And then when you want to open it, again, 0, 0, and that'll open and latch, okay? Now we're gonna head into the penthouse. Okay, right here in the corner of the penthouse is our heater. Again, same function as downstairs. The only thing with this one is it's just a little bit smaller because we're not in as big of a space, and that basically instead of having a low, medium, and high, it just has a low and a high. So it starts the same function as downstairs that I already went over. So up here, I'm gonna go over right behind Joy here is our AC unit so again, we have AC in the main level, and we have AC up in the penthouse. So again, generator has to be running for our air conditioners to work. So very simple. After you start the generator, you turn on your on-off switch. That starts the unit. And then the mode, again, we want to make sure it's in the AC mode. Fan has the different settings for the fan. We'll kind of turn it down here so it's not as loud. I don't really worry about the timer or the sweep at all. Again, you can hit the swing for the fans. But again, that's the temperature inside the penthouse here. Then you're using your arrows to change the temp setting. So again, and then simply turn off. So very simple. So kind of let that power down here. There she goes. We also have, again, we have carbon monoxide and smoke detector up here in the penthouse as well. Again, same function downstairs. So we always have to start our outboards downstairs. There's no keys up here, so you can't start your outboards or turn them off. So again, you would start your outboards downstairs. You would gain control with your shifter downstairs. So when you want to come up in here and drive, again, the kids like to do this. They like to play with the shifter. Okay, so make sure the shifter is in neutral whenever you take over the shifter. As long as everything is running downstairs, you simply would hit this button right here. Again, I have the motors off, so nothing's going to work. All right, you would get the red lights here. So again, whatever shifter has the red lights is the active shifter. We do have another GPS up here, so you can have your navigation up here. Your RPM tax, again, 3,000 RPMs would be kind of max cruising speed. Typically up here, you're going a little bit slower, and then again, you're just up here and driving away, and that's pretty much it for these outlets here. I guess I should mention. So these outlets are powered by the lithium pack. So again, don't need the generator to run those outlets. That basically, we got our bunk bed up here. We got 2 futons. This is pretty much it for the penthouse on our newly renamed Nautilus Houseboat. So that wraps up our orientation video. I think I got everything covered. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you when you come to the lake and spend some time with us. Thank you.